DC Multiverse!
So how's it going there, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, let's take a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Blue Variant Hush Batman figure. If you're wondering how I got my hands on this figure so early, well, I picked mine up from Hong Kong. However, this figure, along with Catwoman, Mr. Freeze, and the Joker, are all up for pre-order as non-exclusives. So as you've been looking at, the box for this is the same as all the rest of the McFarlane figures. Batman Hush on the side, and on the back you have some artwork from the fantastic Mr. Jim Lee from Batman Hush. But really, this is what we're all here to see, the figure outside of the package. And as you can see, you get the figure, you get two batarangs, you get two extra fists, a trading card, and an action figure stand. I particularly prefer these Batman Hush batarangs in comparison to the two silver ones that came with the 2-pack. And it is nice that he comes with these alternate fist hands. One, as you can see, having a piece of kryptonite in that ring there. He's got the kryptonite ring that held Superman at bay just long enough for Catwoman to shove Lois off of a building and have Superman make the choice between pursuing a conflict with Batman or catching Lois while under Poison Ivy's control. Here's a close-up of the trading card. As you can see, it's a completely different image from the last one, and here's the bio on the back. Pause to read if you'd like to. But really, at this point, it's all about Batman. And this, for a lot of people, is going to be their quintessential McFarlane Toys Batman figure. Blue and gray, pouches, and a solid bat on the chest. For others, this may not be, and that's okay too. I particularly really like the look of this Batman's gray and blue mixture. They're both really muted. They're not bright blue and they're not a bright gray. Now, don't kid yourself, because I do so many customs, I'm definitely going to do the gray swaps. When I get my hands on another one of these, I'm going to take all the blue parts and I'm going to swap them onto the lighter gray Batman parts just to see how that looks. But this looks pretty darn good as is as well. This bat is more of a matte compared to the previous bat. This Batman's utility belt is a completely different shade of yellow, and it appears to me that some of the blue actually has some shading. The inside scallops of Batman's nice, softly rubber cape here actually have some shading on the inside, which is not something we see a lot of with McFarlane Toys. The same for the head sculpt. You can actually see that there's shading around the Batman's lenses, that's kind of neat. And the face paint for mine in general looks pretty neat and tidy. There is a little blotch of skin color on Batman's nose, but that's easily removable enough. If you were to ask me, I'd tell you that the side profile for this Batman figure on both sides is pretty much perfect, and at this point, I think this is probably one of the best Jim Lee inspired / Hush Batman head sculpts that we've seen to date. Side by side compared to the original Hush Batman figure, we can see major differences in the gray and the yellow, as I previously mentioned, but where a large portion of these 2-pack Batman figures went out with a defect, that being that the elbows were black and the paint was never finished for the gauntlets here, this is an issue that's actually completely rectified for this here's second release. And although I would wish that the gauntlets were sculpted, personally, I still think that these look pretty darn good in comparison to what we got last time. Now, we still do have the big, round, ugly ankles for this figure, and head articulation that starts right down at the base of the neck. Two things that a lot of people like myself really weren't that keen on. We really kind of wished that Batman had a head articulation at the base of the head to give him real articulation. This is subpar. This is something that a lot of us really don't like. Here he is in comparison to the Hush Superman figure, and as we all knew and expected, this Batman was going to be a little taller than the Superman because that is how this Batman has been sculpted. Personally, I think that this is a really big, bad oversight, as they should at least be the same height. You can take some of the height away from this Batman by simply cutting off some of Batman's boots at the bottom here and then dremeling up into the inside to sink the rounded hinge to the inside of the boot. But I feel like that's not something that people should have to do if they're trying to have characters be in scale with one another. Now at this point, I'm going to skip the articulation segment of this video because, let's face it, we pretty much all know how well this thing can and can't pose based on the last Batman Hush figure from McFarlane Toys, and I'm just going to jump right into my final thoughts. Seriously, I like this Hush Batman better than the previous one, for sure. I appreciate the fact that it comes with interchangeable hands. I like the batarangs better, and I really like the fact that this Batman figure comes with a closed-mouth, straight-faced expression rather than the open, teethy mouth of the previous 2-pack version. I know that some people really dig that expressy face sort of thing, but honestly, I feel like your first basic head should be one that is, well, basic, and everything else should be a pack-in, like interchangeable hands. But anyway, those are my thoughts and my opinions. I'm sticking to them. Hopefully you found this video to be an interesting, useful, insightful waste of time, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.